The slogan is where books find new homes. I love it because it ties together my love of books, community, small piece of real estate, but of course, the heart behind it is the connections.
Subtle skills, big results.
Welcome to the Ninja Selling Podcast.
Hey everyone, it's your good friend Eric Thompson. Welcome to the Ninja Selling Podcast. We're so happy that you're here. We're happy about our guest that we have with us today. It is Alexis Pinter. Alexis, you're about to share some great takeaways for everyone. But first, welcome to the podcast. It's great to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me, Eric. I'm really excited to be here and grateful for the opportunity.
Well, we are also excited. We're also grateful. Let's start with this before we dive in. Just share, Alexis, where you live and also the company that you're with so that people can get to know you a little bit better.
Yes, of course. So I live in Albuquerque, New Mexico. I am an independent broker with eXp Realty.
The reason why we wanted to have you on today, Alexis, is that you just hit your 2026 goal in June. You had a goal for the year, and here we are in the middle of June recording this podcast. You just hit your goal for the whole year. Congratulations. We're so happy for you, Alexis.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Everyone should know that you're a part of coaching. You work with Coach Tracy, work with her for 2.5 years. And what we're going to get into today is how you did it. Okay, so what's working for you? How did someone achieve this goal? First, if it's okay, Alexis, I'm going to brag on you just a little bit so people know the numbers. And so here are the numbers, everyone. Alexis, at the start of the year, had a goal of $225,000 in income. Here we are in the middle of June. Between what you've closed, Alexis, and also what you have pending, you're sitting at $228,000. A big shout out to you. Congratulations. Something else that's really noteworthy, something else to celebrate is that you are already at 90% of the volume that you did all of last year. And that last year was a really good year. And you've already achieved 90%. So way to go. Alexis, we're so happy.
Wild.
And this is your 12th year in real estate. So, sometimes we hear growth stories like this from people just starting real estate and they're just kind of naturally growing their business from nothing, but you're not doing that at all. You're a veteran, 12 years in the business, making this happen. So, Alexis, here's the first thing we're going to get into. And I think this is going to be especially interesting for people. I want to have you talk about, Alexis, your book exchange. And what we find so commonly with people like you that are seeing these big results, this big elevation in results, it so often comes back to live flow. People look for authentic ways to have live flow. You have found it with a book exchange. So what do we need to know about your book exchange? Tell us all about that.
Well, so yes, when I started working with Tracy, one of the things that kept coming up was, how am I doing live flow? And the big common thing that I always hear with brokers and teams is you need to have a client appreciation. You need to be in front of your clients. You need to have some sort of event, throw a big party, lavish them, give them all the gifts. And I would tell Tracy, I just don't want to self-promote just me. I don't want to feel salesy. And I don't know that I'd feel comfortable in that type of setting. But we always hear of the importance of those kind of events. And so I struggled with the idea of a traditional event. And it didn't feel like me. So we talked, Tracy and I, we both love to read. And so that was one of the common things that we talked about. And she was like, well, I remember her saying, what is an event you would like to attend? If someone invited you, where would you want to go? And we started talking about how I used to have a book club prior to COVID. It dwindled down during COVID. And I said, I had such a great time doing that. I was in front of my group. I was able to connect with them. I would like to do something similar, maybe not necessarily a book club because that was also very time consuming, but something that's maybe revolving around what I love to do. And I feel like naturally I'm a connector. I love to connect people. And all that to say, book swaps became the topic. And so I host a quarterly book swap and I invite my friends, my past clients, my current clients. I invite family, cousins, and I make the invite on Eventbrite. So that's a platform that kind of gets pushed out to the community. And I send that out. And so essentially what the book swap is it's an event that I host at my office. Again, kind of underlining like, I'm a realtor. This is actually my real estate office, but come here for a book swap. And people bring 1 to 5 books and they are welcomed into my office. So you would greet them if I don't know them. And it's more and more commonly like, I don't know who these people are. How did you hear about it? Eventbrite is really great and social media is really great for that. They come in, they drop off their books. While they drop off their books, those are getting laid out in the conference room. I have a local barista that I hire out for 2 hours to be at my office. So she's taking drink orders again on me. That's the client appreciation aspect of it. I have a local sourdough bakery, which happens to be my sister, and she's creating sourdough treats, and she has sourdough treats ready when people arrive to enjoy with their coffee. People during this time are mingling. I'm connecting with people. I'm connecting with past clients. I'm connecting like, you love fantasy books. Come meet my friend. She loves fantasy books. I'm just, again, connecting and doing all of that. And then I'm trying to find a local business or a client more specifically that has a local business that I can highlight at my event. One of the more popular ones was one of my past clients who started a business as a floral bouquet. And so I paid for her to be there for 2 hours. She had all of these flowers laid out in buckets and you got to make your own bouquet. And she helped do that, and another treat that you get to take with you. That all happens. We go into the conference room. People find books. People are laughing, talking, chatting, and you're meeting new friends and meeting people that you obviously have a lot in common with. And so I just find that with this event, it's brought a lot of people who already loved books, who love to read, and you get to now exchange those stories with someone else.
And this is so you, Alexis. It's so you because you love to read, you love books, you love to connect with people. Let's share a few details that people, I'm guessing, are curious about. How often do you do this?
When Tracy and I talked about it, I was like, girl, we need to be realistic with this. Like, I think I can do quarterly. And so it's been pretty successful. So it's happening quarterly.
Okay, it's quarterly. You mentioned that you put it on Eventbrite. And so how many people come to each of these?
Yes, I cap it. So I essentially cap it at 30. Again, it's at my office. I only have so much space. But what I feel like this has created is some sense of FOMO, fear of missing out. And so whenever I post my Eventbrite, I try to do it maybe within a week and a half prior to. I found that if I do it too early on, people might RSVP and kind of forget. And so it is on a Saturday. So I do cap it at 30, and it's been capped every single time.
You alluded to this earlier. It's worth bringing up again. Of the people who arrive, not all of them are people that you already know. This has become a way for you to meet new people. So tell us about that. Like, let's say there are 30 people there. Of the 30, how many on average would be brand new relationships for you?
Oh, I would say easily about like half, sometimes maybe a fourth, but a fourth to half of those are new people. And what I am finding out as I'm connecting with everyone, because the goal is to connect with everyone who came in, especially people you don't know, is friends are inviting friends. I'm meeting them. The last event, I did meet a handful of people and I was like, how did you hear about this event? And they're like, oh, our book club saw your event on Eventbrite and shared it with our group in our book club. And I'm like, of course, this makes total sense. And so Eventbrite is great for pushing that out to the community. And so that's how I've been meeting new people and just, spreading out my SOI.
We have a saying in Ninja that your vibe attracts your tribe. And so you bring a vibe to this event, to this strategy, and you're attracting people who are also authentically really into reading and into books. You're attracting more people into your tribe.
And I think that's the best part of how I've been intentional of this, because now I love working with the people who I'm attracting because we have so much in common. And I know what you like, you know what I like. I think we're going to get along and this is going to be a great transaction and we're going to be friends after this, of course.
Right. It all starts with something that you have in common, that you both love. You have a really fun slogan for your book exchange. Tell us about that.
So the slogan is where books find new homes.
Find new homes.
Yeah, I love it because it ties together my love of books, community, a small piece of real estate, but of course, the heart behind it is the connections.
Yes, absolutely. Tell us about the bookmark.
Something that what I would tell Tracy is like, I don't want to come off as salesy or I don't want to be like I'm promoting myself. But how do I underline? So again, the office was the first step. The second step was, what can I give them that they can take? That's not a business card. I didn't want to have business cards just laying around. So I created bookmarks, and I create a bookmark on Vistaprint. For every book swap, it's a different theme. So I try to make the bookmark to that theme. And on the back of the bookmark, it has my contact information. So it's like one theme at one time was like, get to know your book swap host. Another theme is get to know your local realtor. But each bookmark has my contact info. So I'm intentional for when people arrive, I give them about 3 bookmarks, depending on how many books they bring or whatever. So I know they go away with bookmarks that they're going to use, because I know they love to read. They need a bookmark, and they look at that every day they're reading, and my contact info is on it.
I love it. And you know what, Alexis, you're not alone in seeing that sometimes the client appreciation event can feel too focused on you. And look, there are lots of ninjas who do a client appreciation event. They love it. Their clients love it. It really works for them. And there's some people like you who really don't resonate with that particular approach. And so you found another approach. You found another way that's authentic to you to connect with people, to build your tribe. And so I think a takeaway is that there's so many different ways to do a client event. What matters most, and tell me if you agree, Alexis, what matters most is that it just aligns with you and who you are. So think about what would feel very you. If you hear these stories about different events and you say, well, that's not me. Well, what is you? And you found that.
Yeah. And I would also ask what Tracy asked me. It was like, what kind of event would you like to attend? And start working from there.
Okay, so we're going to switch gears and talk about something else that you do really well, something innovative. I think this is your post-closing postcard process. So you have a process in place to follow up with clients after they close. So can you tell us about that?
Yeah, definitely. So another thing that we learn in Ninja 9 is how we're going to do our touches. And Tracy's like, how are you following up? How are you connecting? And I want this to be as auto as possible, where I don't have to think too much about it. And through my CRM, every time I close a deal, I subscribe them to this post-closing campaign. And it's basically 34 touches. And throughout the year, they're getting postcards. I think the first postcard is like, welcome home. There's a QR code, leave me a review. There's another postcard that talks about, have you heard anyone speaking about real estate? Scan the QR code to send Alexis a referral link. And each QR code is connected to that client. I know exactly what address and who's bringing that in there. And then with that postcard autoflow, I mentioned 34 touches. They're also getting emails that are connected to those postcards, because those postcards also have spring maintenancing tips, winter maintenancing tips. And so I'm getting reminders as well as, hey, this client just received this postcard, follow up on whatever the thing. And so I have found that that's just been really, really great to connect with my clients post-closing, but not so much have to think about what I'm going to call them about.
Yeah, what a great, just set it and forget it. I mean, that's a true auto flow. Of those postcards, which ones tend to get the best response from your experience?
Definitely the tips, like the maintenancing tips of like, I didn't think to do this. Oh, this was great. I've had clients call me that are maybe not so handy and have actually inquired even more of like, hey, do you know where I get those hose bib covers? Because I have no idea where to get those. And it's just, again, I'm sending Amazon links. So I feel like those have been maybe received more. And then gratefully, the leave a review, because after we close a transaction, I have a system as well with my transaction assistant to send a link that says, we enjoyed working with you. Please leave us a review. And not always do they get to that, because again, they're moving into their house, they're doing all this stuff. And so that initial postcard of like, welcome home, on the bag, it has a leave me a review. I've gotten quite a few reviews onto my CRM for that.
Okay, now I want to have you share about, from my perspective, might be the thing that's really driving your business. As good as that book exchange is, and it's really good, what I was struck by when I was getting to know you, Alexis, is how good you are at reaching out to people organically, sincerely, personally, when you see things happening in their life, whether you see it on social media or you just hear about it, know about it in other ways. So I want to have you share about that, because I think this is something that really anyone could do. This is something we could all be better at. So if it's okay, can you talk about that?
I mean, first and foremost, I think some of like the most meaningful touches aren't automated. It's just genuine life moments. And so I really try to pay attention to what is happening in people's lives. A lot of that I can do through social media, which is amazing. I'm looking at Facebook, I'm looking at Instagram, and I'm trying to see like who's had these life moments. If someone is doing announcements because they're expecting a baby, right away, I know where they live because I've sold them a house. I am sending them a gift card to a baby store. Babies are us. If someone I see has lost a pet, which is so near and dear to my heart, we are pet lovers to the max. And we recently lost our pet. I'm sending people flowers. Like, I know what you're going through, or even prior to our loss of our dogs, like, I cannot imagine what you're going through. I hope these just brighten up your day. And they're genuine. They're not expecting to get business back or expecting for them to call me. It's just, I see you. I'm a real person. I'm not just a salesperson. And let me send you this. One of the other life moments that I felt was received very well is I had a friend of mine who became a citizen. So this was closer to Christmas. I had an ornament made. I have another client who actually makes ornaments. So I use her business for stuff like this. And it said something like, the year I became a citizen. And I sent it to her. And she called me like, this is something I'm going to remember forever. And I've done stuff like that similarly. When I see people get a new pet, a new puppy, and I see that they post, this is our new dog, their name is Roger, I'm sending an ornament like the year we got Roger. And so it's celebrating, whether it's those wins, whether it's a loss in the family, checking in on those difficult moments. And I feel has been received well, and it's honestly just very genuine.
Yeah, well, I can sense you talking about how meaningful it is to you. And there's nothing about this as like a business strategy. Now that it turns out to be a business strategy, but for you, you're just doing it from your heart. And that's so clear. And as a result, great things come of it business-wise. And I'm just thinking about how often all of us are on social media, and it's so easy just to scroll right by that post, maybe notice it for a moment, but someone's expressing a pretty significant thing that happened in their life, and you're taking the time to acknowledge it and reach out to them and really connect in a meaningful way.
And sometimes I do find that maybe things get lost because everyone's just commenting the same thing, like, happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday. That's actually one of the things that we had talked about is like, if I see it's someone's birthday and I have their contact info, I'll send them a voice note. And I'm just being myself, like, happy birthday. And I'm just making it fun. And they're like, oh my God, you're too much, or you're crazy, or I love this, or I would never catch myself singing. It's just like opening that door for conversation. So what do you have planned? And again, genuine, but it stands out because I'm not just on their Facebook wall like everyone else.
To also talk about what happens on social media as a result, which was not really intended, but what do you notice them doing on social media after they get these kind of things from you?
It's kind of free advertising because I've had clients be like, okay, but does your realtor send you a baby shower gift when your baby shower hasn't happened yet? Okay, does your realtor drop off a bottle of wine because they saw it was your anniversary? And they're posting me, they're tagging me. I'm happily resharing. And again, genuine moments, they're sharing it to their SOI. I'm getting followers from their followers or their SOI. They're following me. And I'm like, oh, these 3 new followers have this mutual person in common. This came from that. Just because I dropped off a bottle of wine. That was genuine. So it's just a snowball effect.
Just a snowball. That's all organic. And again, that was not the intent. You had one intention, which was to reach out and connect and make him feel good, make him feel better. But as a result, all these great things are happening. It's very ninja of you, Alexis.
Well, thank you. That's the goal.
Yeah. So let's all take up that challenge. Let's all find those opportunities to do that. Alexis, can you talk about coaching? What was happening for you when you decided to hire a coach?
Yeah. So I'm with EXP, and when I moved to EXP, I was a part of a team. And so when I felt like, you know what, it's time to just go and be independent and be an independent broker, I know how I work. I know that I sometimes need the accountability. I know that I need Tracy, like, so what did you do this week? But I need someone kind of in my ear I am a perfectionist. I am detailed, but I do still need that accountability. And so I was like, I love the ninja. I love the system. The system works. I need to just, how do I become more intentional with that? So that's when I reached out to Tracy and I explained to her. So it was my transition from going with working on a team to being an independent broker. And so that's how and why I decided to reach out to Ninja. And when I met Tracy, I was like, yes, you are my girl. We are going to be so great. You are such a cheerleader. And she has been a cheerleader since I've been with her. And she's amazing.
Yes, she is. She is amazing. Absolutely. What are some of the bigger takeaways that you've had so far from coaching?
I think the bigger takeaways would not to underestimate the small things. I think sometimes I would be really hard on myself and I would tell Tracy like, okay, so I didn't do the weekly meeting agenda, but hear me out. I did send out 10 gift cards for an ice cream shop to my clients that have kids. And I already got something on that. And so it's like, I would just say, like, don't underestimate the small things. I think it would be my biggest takeaway is like everything, like I said, is a snowball effect. And it's just the consistency of doing, even the consistency of doing one thing is going to give you that ROI.
It always does. Yeah. It's not about perfection. It's about progress. And it's about just doing those actions consistently. Mm-hmm. That's when it snowballs, like you said.
Yeah. My takeaway also is like, she's like, you're great with people. You're great with face-to-face. Like, you're great at writing cards to people, like heartfelt cards. Like, you're great at that. If you don't do these things, at least continue doing that because I know that you thrive off of that. And so, again, it's just finding out what essentially works for you and your personality and who you are and how you want to be.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's great. Okay, Alexis, anything else you would share with the Ninja Nation before we wrap up?
I would say that I think the one thing that I would share is just be intentional with relationships. If you're going to have these relationships, be intentional with them, be genuine, care about people, stay consistent. And I think that alone creates a system and that alone will help the business flow.
Alexis, thank you for everything you shared today. It was wonderful. Yeah, absolutely. It's been our pleasure to have you here. And thank you, everyone, for listening. We so appreciate all of you that are committed to listening to the podcast and joining us here every week. It means the world to us. Alexis, thank you again. Thank you, everyone, for being here.
As always, we look forward to seeing you on the next podcast. Take care.
If you enjoyed this episode, visit us at theninjasellingpodcast.com to learn more about ninja selling classes and coaching to get you started or further your journey on the ninja path.
Thank you for joining us. Now go have an incredible day.